Hi, my name is Ray. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my floor. And my main goal for this entire year is to finish my entire physical TBR. And it is long. It's a long TBR, okay? So I need to do challenges to keep myself motivated. Because last month I didn't give myself a challenge and I was not motivated at all. So this month I'm doing a challenge. I know it's the 10th. I know I only have 18 days. We're going to get through this. I promise you. Also, I'm going to do book reviews, I think. Yep, I'm gonna do book reviews, and that's going to start today after I finish the book I'm currently reading. So I'm currently reading Caraval, and I'm also currently reading Bunny, but I'm not as far into Caraval as I could be, so I think I'm going to start the book challenge that I've created for myself, and then I'll continue Caraval. Don't you worry. So, my challenge for this month is all romance-esque books. They're off to the side here, that's why I keep looking over here. There are 14 books, I want to say, in total. Let me run through what they are. So we got Wuthering Heights, we got Hooked, we got Back in Spell, we got The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, we got Dungeons and Drama, we got Dating and Dragons, we got Orpheus Girl, we got Lucky Charm, we got A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, we got Butterflies, that's 10. We got Beautiful Magic, we have Redeemial Magic. Don't ask why I read that as beautiful. We had The Dead Romantics, Red, White, and Royal Blue, and Hero. That's 4. That is 14. It's 14 full books. All right. Now, what I might do is I might have a little book review. And also, at the beginning of each week, I am rolling a die to see how many books I need to read that week. This week is 4 books. Last week was easy with 3. This week's 4. Hopefully, it'll be as easy. I think I'm close to halfway done with Bunny, so I think I can finish that today. I will do a little book review for Bunny, roll a dice for what book I am reading next. That is a part of the challenge, and we will go from there. That's pretty much it. That's as easy as it gets. And then March, really the only book I'm hopeful to read before a certain date is Project Hail Mary. But I do think I will create another challenge for March. I don't have any, St. Patty's Day books, though. So we're going to have to figure that out. Technically, I could have saved Lucky Charm for March. But it's fine. Alright, so I will see you guys in a bit with my review of Bunny, and then we will roll a dice for what book I'm reading next in my book challenge. I do have 2 other library books that I have in my Kindle that I need to finish before the end of this month. So those will also be getting reviews when I am done with them. Alright, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye! Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray, and I think I forgot to mention it in the last video, but everything bookish from me, book hauls, book reviews, TBR updates, what I'm reading next, readathons, are all going to be under Ray's Book Nook. Also, the challenge videos, those are also going to be under Ray's Book Nook. Speaking of the challenge, I do have another book to add to the challenge because I did go shopping a little bit yesterday. And the next book to the challenge is Kiss the Girl. It's an Ariel retelling, so I think that'll be fun. There are 2 other books I got that are going on my TBR. Those will be shown later when we actually get to them in the TBR. Now, I think it's high time we start this challenge, and I also think I should tell you guys what I thought of Bunny. So, for those that don't know, Bunny is about this girl named Samantha who goes to this college called Warner College, and it's supposed to be this elite performing arts literary college. There are poets there are writers there, there's performing arts, It's a lot. She meets this girl named Ava one night when she's drunk and she doesn't know what to do. It's all a good book, right? At the beginning, I felt like it was kind of Mean Girls-esque. Because it was, the bunnies are this group, they're always together and always huddled next to each other. And just remind me of Mean Girls, right? And then, just like Mean Girls, Samantha gets into the group. But it's not like I'm trying to infiltrate the group. It was more she was invited and she was like, I don't know if I should go. Maybe I shouldn't go. And then weird stuff starts happening. I don't want to spoil anything. But as she becomes a bunny, a lot of weird stuff happens. And they invite her to more stuff. And she starts losing contact with her friend Ava. And she starts losing contact with everyone who's important to her. And it's really just an interesting read, especially once you get to that end and like everything gets revealed. My God, it was interesting. I think I gave it like a 4.5 star. It was amazing. It was interesting. I cannot wait until my hold of the next book in the series actually comes, and then I can read the next book. It was awesome though. I loved it. Highly recommend you all read it as well. Now then, I'm gonna go grab a D20. We're gonna roll it, and we're gonna see what book we're reading next. Come with me. Alright, so I have 2 dice. I don't know which one to actually use, so we're going to try this one. And if you can't read the number, just let me know. What number is that? That is a 5. Okay. Let's go count which one is 5. So I'm realizing I don't know whether I want to count from the top down or from the bottom up. So let me do both, and then I will roll a die to see which one I actually read. Okay, so due to my indecision, the 2 books are either Give Me Butterflies or The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Let me find a dice and roll real quick. Alright, so I got this dice, very pretty, and if it lands on an odd, it's going to be The 7 Husbands. If it lands on even, it'll be Give Me Butterflies. And that is a 5. We're going to be reading The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo first, and then maybe we'll read Give Me Butterflies. Alright, so we are starting off with The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have read Daisy Jones and the Six, and I know the kind of plot beats of Evelyn Hugo, so I'm hoping it's as good as I think it is. And then I think we'll move on to Give Me Butterflies. Did I fail to mention that today's going to be a readathon, by the way? So I'm going to go make that video, and once I finish 7 Husbands, I will come back, make a book review, and then I will start Give Me Butterflies. When I finish Give Me Butterflies, I will come back, do a book review, and then I will roll a die for what book is next in this challenge. So I will be back at some point today, hopefully. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray, and on Wednesday I was supposed to do a readathon. I did not. But it's Friday, and I got through the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Yay! So as I said in my previous video, when I was about to start this, I read Daisy Jones and the Six, and my favorite thing about Daisy Jones and the Six was the twist in it is so much bigger because you don't know who is interviewing Daisy Jones and the Six. So it's like such a bigger twist. But this one had a twist, and it was still great, even though we know who is interviewing Evelyn. And I think this was just an amazing book altogether because it deals with, being a movie star in the 50s to the 80s, which was not an easy time. And it gave like the Marilyn Monroe kind of vibe of it, and it took it to like a whole nother level. And I say this is a 5-star read for me. And I might have to open the book so I make sure I get it right, but I love that ending quote of the book because it is, as it's written, it is quintessentially Evelyn. Because they are just husbands. I am Evelyn Hugo. And anyway, I think once people know the truth, they'll be much more interested in my wife. And that is the entire book summed up pretty much. Because it's very interesting going into it and knowing that quote because I was like, okay, maybe she got married in like, the early aughts before she died. And then it's the whole, here are all her husbands, here's her telling the story. And the grace of her life wasn't a husband. It was her best friend and the love of her life who unfortunately died before her. Hey, baby girl. And I just think that this was an amazing book, and 5 stars. 5 stars. And now I get to try and tackle Give Me Butterflies, which I'm really looking forward to, because I think, like, I read the back of it and I really, really wanted to read it. But the subject warning, or the if you're affected by any of the following topics, makes me realize I am in for another sad journey, because I cried at least 4 times with Evelyn and Hugo. I'm afraid I'm going to cry quite a bit with this one. So I'm going to go start this, and I will see you guys when I'm done with it, and then we'll pick my next book in my romance challenge. Bye-bye. Hello. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my spare room. My name's Ray. And if I'm not as, like, it's because I just recorded all of this, went to put in videos of me rolling die, important for later, and TikTok deleted the entire thing. Okay, technically I deleted the entire thing, but I couldn't see where what I had done, and what I was going to do was, because they made it like 4 minutes long when it was supposed to be the full time. But whatever. I read 2 books since the last time we spoke, which means that I have actually read all the books I was supposed to read this week, because I rolled a die last Sunday. Yeah, and I got 4. Meaning I had to read 4 books. Somehow today I also rolled the die and got 4. So, I mean, it helps I'm using a D8. So, anyway, 2 books I've read since we last talked. Give Me Butterflies and Breathe In, Bleed Out. Let me start with Breathe In, Bleed Out, and then we'll go Give Me Butterflies, okay? Okay, Breathe In, Bleed Out. The only thing I knew going into this, Stalker Wellness Retreat. That's all I knew. I gave this a 3.5. I will explain why. So, very good book. I loved the book. I loved the slasher elements. The plot is this girl, Hannah, it's a year after her, after her fiance is dead. And, you know, her friends get her to go on this wellness retreat. And she's like, I don't know if I really want to go. And they're like, you're coming with us. So I go on this wellness retreat. Everything seems fine until bodies start showing up. Well, actually, the bodies don't show up. We just read about the murders. And so at the end of the book, it's very interesting because I didn't know what to trust. And I love it when books do that, but I hate it when books do that, because I'm like, I don't even know if I can trust myself while I'm reading this. It makes me very uncomfy. But the one thing I will say that was very good is that they did have a hallucination at the very beginning that made me like kind of like, okay, cool, she's just insane. But then they kept having hallucinations pop up, and you, by the end, you have realized which one was a hallucination and which one was actually just what happened. It was a very good book. It's just some of the stuff I wasn't expecting, and I was actually expecting, slight spoiler, I was actually expecting her dead fiance to be alive and come back and be killing everyone. I was totally expecting that, you know. But yeah, very good book. Very good slasher, but like, I don't know what it was for me. Okay, next book is Give Me Butterflies. Redhead is Millie. She's an entomologist. She has a very loving and supportive family, and she has a puppy named Pepper, and she wants to be the director of entomology at the museum. And she's very cute, but also kind of a wreck, and she's just out of a abusive relationship. Finn, he is an astronomer director, and he's our grumpy, and he is in charge of his sister's twin girls after she dies of cancer. And it's a really good story. I love this story so much. I gave it a 4.25 because of the fact there's one part of the book that annoys me so much. And I can't really say much about it without giving away a spoiler. But they're in the coffee shop that Millie loves. And Millie's ex walks in. And she like hides into Finn, which is fine. My issue is that later on, after the twist is revealed and everything, the issue I have is that Finn didn't recognize the ex. That's it. That's all I got. Okay? You can still go read the book. It's very, very good. It takes a minute. It's very good. Okay? Okay. Now, hold. Okay. Hello? There we go. So sorry. I rolled my die earlier, and I got a 4 for how many books I have to read, and an 8 for which book we're reading next. Now I count from the bottom up first, and I landed on Remedial Magic. I also counted from the top down, and I landed on Back in a Spell. And I can't decide. No, why I can't decide? They both have interesting first chapter or first word or first lines. God, and they're both about LGBTQ witches. So I might have to do this another way. That's going to be how many freaking pages are there? Oh, I found the end. Hold on. So it looks like Back in a Spell has 295. That's not bad. And Remedial Magic has 322. We're going to start with Back in a Spell because it has 295. And then we'll read Remedial Magic and we will compare. That's what we'll do. So, we have that going. I'm going to go start Back in a Spell. And then I will hopefully be back in a spell to do my review for Back in a Spell. And then we can start Remedial Magic. And then maybe I'll do a little comparison video. Yeah. That took a minute. I'm so sorry for how long this video is. Anyway, I will see you guys in a couple days for Back in a Spell, and or in like a day for Back in a Spell, and then a couple days for Remedial Magic. Maybe I'll finish Night Circus as well. Who knows? Alright, see you guys later. Bye-bye. There we go. Hi. Welcome to the Book Nook. My name is Ray, and today we are reviewing Back in a Spell, and then we are starting Remedial Magic. So Back in a Spell took me a few days more than I wanted it to. And it's not even that long of a book. But it's a very interesting book because it's 295 pages. And it's all about Nina and Morty. And Nina is a witch, but she's also a lawyer, but she also runs things for her family, the Blackmores, who are one of the founding fathers of this town, Thistlegrove. And there's an oblivion glamour on everyone else so that if they do witchy things in front of normal people, no one remembers. Morty is non-binary. His family's bar was about to be bought out by the Blackmores if they didn't stop the Blackmores. And so he doesn't like the Blackmores. And he accidentally starts becoming a witch due to a witch-bound thing, due to a witch bond thing that a deity in a lake gives them, as well as giving Nina like superpowers pretty much. And it's 295 pages of that. At the beginning of, obviously, we don't really get that until their first date. And it's a lot. It's actually a lot. And like, I liked it. The issue is that it dropped there was no way to not know that Nina and her family are descendants of Morgan Le Fay because it kept dropping either, oh, we're descendants of Morgan Le Fay. Oh, did you know Morgan Le Fay was our ancestor? Or it kept doing the whole, yeah, Camelot Castle, because that is what the Blackmores named their freaking like medieval times themed like castle at Thistlegrove, Camelot Castle. So it was like you could not get away from Arthurian legend. No more than you could get away from the fandoms, apparently. Because while I like a good like little fandom joke, like, oh, we're going to be like Rose and Jack, or oh, we're going to be like Rose and the Doctor. Like, I love a good little fandom joke where it's like quirky and it's supposed to like describe the characters' relationships. This just kept dropping the fandoms. I also like it when, you drop like one fandom, like, oh, we were going to watch Doctor Who today. This dropped every sci-fi fandom or supernatural-esque fandom that you could on you every few pages, and it would not stop. To the point where there's a part where Nina is training Morty how to use his like new magic, and she's like, "Okay, Padawan," and I'm like, "Look, I get y'all like sci-fi, I get y'all like Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I would never call someone that I was romantically interested in a Padawan when I was trying to teach them something. Like, I was like, that's so degrading." Very good book. I give it a 3. I am not going to reread it. I wish I had read the first 2 books before reading this, but I also kind of don't. So, yeah, that is that. So I will be starting Remedial Magic today, which is the 20th of February. And yeah, this challenge is definitely going to be going into March, unless I can speed read some books real quick. I don't know if I can, but I will let you guys know what I think of Remedial Magic when I am done with Remedial Magic, probably in a couple days. All right, I'll see you guys later. Hello, welcome to Ray's Book Nook. My name is Ray, and today I have a little bit of a book review on Baby Doll by Holly Overton. Now, I started reading Baby Doll because I watched Girl Taken on Paramount Plus. I was like, oh, this based on book? I want to read the book. Because I'm one of those people where if I watch something and I know it's based on a book, I immediately want to read the book. To see if it's better, to see if it's worse, And so I was like, let me read the book. The book starts with Lily Reiser, who has been held in captivity by her English teacher, Rick Hansen, for 8 years. She has a daughter named Sky, who is 6 years old, and her and Sky manage to escape Rick Hansen's cabin. And they get back to Lily's home. And then the rest of the book is everything that happens from their escape to pretty much 2 years later, and it's like a really good book. There's so much that happens, and it's so good. And I would give the book on its own a 4 just like a 4, maybe a 4.25. Like, it's really, really good, but it's not, there's nothing that shoots it up to a 5 for me. But it's a very good book. The show, Girl Taken, I think I would give a 3.75. If we are comparing it to the book. If we're comparing it to the book, 3.75. If we're doing it on its own, probably a 4.25 as well. There are a lot of differences in the show and the book. The book is set in America. The show is set in England. In the book, Rick has been plotting stealing Lily for long enough to build an entire cottage in the woods with like a basement to hold her in. Like, it's so meticulously planned, and he's trying to find like the right way to get her. In the show, that's just a cabin he owns, and he's actually after Abby, Lily's twin sister, not her. And it's like kind of a mistaken identity type thing of why Lily gets taken and not Abby. In the show, we're 4 years into her captivity when she escapes, not 8. She does have a daughter, but the daughter doesn't know her, and the daughter and her don't live in captivity together. The ending of the show was really good. I mean, she's trying to get back with her daughter. Abby and Wes are having twins. Like, it's a lot. It's really good though. The ending of the book is better. Like, both things end with, spoiler, Hansen being killed, which I'm grateful for. I'm glad that in the book he doesn't get a chance to escape prison. In the show, he does, but he doesn't get a chance to touch Lily again. And that's kind of my main point of it. Also, like, I feel like it's just a really great book and a really great show. And I don't think I have anything else to say about it. It was just really good. Hi everyone, Ray here. This is Ray's Book Nook, and my sinuses are acting up, so I'm so sorry. But and I'm trying to do something new for the channel. I'm going to be trying to do weekly readathons, where I just read as many books as I can throughout the week, and then at the end of the week, whether that be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I might be giving you guys kind of a book review, like a big book review. That's what right now is. And then I think I'm going to try and show you guys like books I'm going to be reading next type thing. Alright, let's get started. How to Kill a Guy in 10 Days by Shaylee Thompson. Very, very fun. I gave this 5 stars. I read it in a week though, so very fun. Very fun. It's rom-com, it's horror. Send New York City 2 film majors who are trying to do their PhDs, one in rom-com and horror actually, and I think just in film studies to be honest, but her dissertation is on rom-coms and slashers and how they kind of share the same formula, and then her best friend who lives with her is doing documentaries. They're both single, they're both trying to get out there, and they go to a speeding event where people start getting killed, and comedy ensues, and there were so many good twists. It was such a good book. It was amazing. These next 3 are from Hollywood, so if you're seeing this, then it's meant for you. This takes place in Hollywood Hills. This girl Dana, her boyfriend breaks up with her via Reddit post that he doesn't even send her. He like posts about how do you would it be wrong to break up with my girlfriend who's about to move in with me? She's in traffic with the moving vans about to go to his house and move in, and he's posting on Reddit like, I don't want this girl to move in. So she goes and meets with this guy who she hasn't talked to since the early 2000s, and she moves into his house, which is now a hype house for creators. And they're trying to save the house because the house was used as a setting for all these great Hollywood films, and they're trying to save it from ruin. And it's a hype. They turn into a hype house. They're trying to get the creators to make money. But encircling all that is what happened to this one creator, Becca, who is a tarot influencer. And it's just there are so many twists. There are so many turns. It was amazing. 5 stars. Our next Hollywood one, Hilly Aldridge is Still Here. This is about conservatorships. It was pretty much Daisy Jones and the Six meets Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, where it was, told someone telling their story to someone else. And it was very good. It had that stuff in Evelyn Hugo where, it was about kind of, I had a friend, and this was her, like, she had a different name, but then they said that wasn't American enough. So she had to change her name. Oh, I don't know what happened to her, we fell apart type thing, and divorce and custody battles, and then trying to get out of a conservatorship that you didn't want to be put in the first place. It was so good. 4.5, I think I said. Those 2 last books I read in like 2 days each, I think. Bury Your Gaze I read in a day. Very much a commentary on AI and what AI can create, and a commentary on gay tragedy and how killing your gaze or burying your gaze always leads to kind of sadness, and it's not really what the fans want, even though, keeping them alive isn't going to get the studio any money. I thought it was very good. I had to kind of give it a lower rank though, just because of the spelling. 4.25. This next one takes place in the UK. Then She Was Gone. Very good book. I loved it. And it's about a girl who goes missing at 15, and then 10 years later, her mother meets a guy, and the guy has a daughter who looks exactly like the girl. And obviously, you think you know where it's going, and then it makes a sharp turn, and it did not go where you thought it was. Very good. I have to give it 3.5. Not for any real reason. My only reason is I would not read it again because now that I know what happens, I'm not surprised. However, I am kind of surprised at what they did because it wasn't where I thought it was going. It was not where I thought it was going. But those are all the books I read this week. Now a preview for next week. All right, we are going to do a quick run through of the next books I'm reading. So No Place Left to Hide I'm starting today. This is also signed by Megan Lally, so that's very fun. I may have butchered that last name. I am so sorry. Zomrom-Com by Olivia Dade. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. The Honeys by Ryan Lasala. He Had Rivalry by Rachel Reed. Dungeons and Drama and Dating and Dragons Duology by Christy Boyce. Markiplier from North Korea, signed by Mama Plier and written by Mama Plier. And then the last book, 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard. I do have a couple books coming in. I have the next book in the Into Darkness series coming in on March 31st. And today I think I have the next book in the Strange Buildings. I have that book coming in. So yeah, so about like 10 books. And then I do have off in the corner, I have Caught Up and Grim and Oro and Crown Tide and Tourist Season and the Dark Shepherd trilogy or Dark Shepherd duology, which I do want to read at some point. But that's all for this week, and next week I will be right back at you with the rest of the books I've read. All right, I will see you all in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, it's Ray, Ray's Book Nook, and I'm just going to do a quick little video. I'm going to try and make this quick. It's going to kind of be speed run. Where I get my books, how I track my books, my TBR count, what I'm reading right now, and what's upcoming for this channel. So, where I get my books. Physical books first. I tend to try and do local bookshops near me, library book sales, thrift stores, thrift books, But also I do Barnes & Noble, or I do use Barnes & Noble, Target, Amazon, Walmart, and I think I already said thrift books, but thrift books. For electronic books, I do try and use Libby. But if it's not on Libby, or if I can't find it on Libby, I will try and go to Kindle Unlimited, which is also, I use Kindle Unlimited like all the time. So, anyway, tracking books. So for my overall books, I do use LibBib because it also tracks movies, video games, board games, and you can make different collections. And I have a collection for my TBR, and I have a collection for my books in my library. I have a collection of Stephen King. I have a collection for Star Wars, for children's books, for mass market paperback. For reading, I use Bookmurray and Fable. Bookmurray has this reading tracker where you can start a timer and you can just read for however long you're going to, and then it will tell you, oh hey, you read X amount of pages per hour, and then it'll say this is how many pages this is how much time is left in your book, right? Fable, I love Fable. I also have 2 notebooks. This big one you've seen before. It's my kind of monthly tracker, as well as how many books are on my TBR, both physical and electronic. This is kind of my mainly physical tracker, but I also have kind of weekly how many books did I read this week in here and what books I read that week. So that way I have kind of multiple tracking systems. My TBR count right now is 225, we're going to say, for physical, because I have 4 books coming in this week or next week, but soon, this month. For Libby, I have 84 books. For Kindle, I have 113 on a list, and then 30 in my actual Kindle, so that brings me to about 145, plus the A4, so 229 for electronic, And then the 225 for physical brings me to 454 altogether. What I am currently reading, so on my Kindle, I do have this book physically. I just have been reading on Kindle mainly. I'm reading Caraval, and then I'm reading Rights of the Starling, because that just came out today. And then physical book, I'm reading Project Hail Mary. I am not far in any of my books, which kind of sucks. Upcoming, I'm going to be doing more videos. This starting like later this month. I'm going to be doing more reviews. I'm going to be doing more readathons / reading blogs, what I read this week, TBR updates, and the what I read this week, TBR updates, and reading blogs might, or not reading blogs, reading reviews might all be in one video. The reading blogs, I might try and do kind of like a week-long thing where it starts on Monday and then ends on Sunday type thing. But we will see. And readathons will probably be like 24-hour readathons will probably be on like Saturdays or something. But we will see. Alright. See you guys in the next one.